Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to I Can't Shut Up Unless You Tell Me to. And today, I'm going to be reviewing the titular Lies of P. Lies of P. What is Lies of P? Lies of P is effectively Bloodborne 2. Now, I'm going to be making a video at some point in the near future discussing the uncanny similarities between Bloodborne and Lies of P. But before we get to that point, I want to talk about the game proper. Lies of P takes the Bloodborne-esque aesthetics and combat formula of fast-paced, aggressive combat, semi-aggressive combat, if I'm being honest, dodging, roll dodging, and a modified rally system. You are P. Pinocchio. And this is effectively a retelling of Pinocchio, told in a rather dark manner. The game is surprisingly long, just when you think you're about to get to the end, when there's been more than enough game for you to be satisfied. Even more pops up. This is going to be a relatively spoiler-full review. And I just wanted to put this warning out here for those that are listening. I'm going to be making no qualms about trying to spoil this game, so bear that in mind. If you want to be relatively spoiler-free for your playthrough, now is the time to click off for the time being. But as we persist, you wake up on a train and have to fight your way to the titular Hotel Krat, fighting a, let's just say, enthusiastic parade master. You fight your way through the streets, you get to the parade master, you buy some gear from the merchant just outside, you beat him, learning how to read boss mechanics and animations, and this is kind of where where Lies of P, I would describe Lies of P as kind of the blood child of Bloodborne and Sekiro. Because unlike in Bloodborne, where if you just get damaged, you hit the motherfucker back and you get your health back, in Lies of P, the only way the rally system works is if you are actively guarding, blocking at the time. Yes, there's a block mechanic in our Bloodborne knockoff. Bear with me. This effectively means that if you are blocking every attack, which consumes a little bit of health and stamina, and then you attack back, you'll get your health recovery. Typical rally system. The difference here is the way that parrying works. You're not using a gun, you're using a block system. And you can break an opponent's stance if you perfect block. When you perfect block, a little red flash will pop up right near your weapon. That is very visible. You'll see it. And you do that enough times, and your opponent's health bar will glow white. You do a fully charged heavy attack or a special power attack that you use by accruing focus, which are the little bars at the bottom, and pressing the Y button to activate those effects, and it will break your opponent's stance, and then you can do a critical hit on that in typical, Bloodborne fashion. The Parade Master is a generally good boss fight for kind of teaching you how to see these things, and also reminding you, hey, they can move fast sometimes, and there's some attacks that will, if you're not positioned properly, you'll get scuffed. You beat the Parade Master and you go into Hotel Krat. You are apparently a special puppet that is able to lie. And the more you lie, the more human you become. Because it's part of the Grand Covenant. The Grand Covenant is basically a bunch of rules stating that it's basically like the world's versions, the world's personal version of like Isaac Asimov's rules for robots. Bless me. And with the addendum of puppets cannot lie. And here's the problem, right? So fundamentally, at the end of the day, you lie and say you're a human to get into the Hotel Krat because the Hotel Krat presumes that puppets cannot lie as part of the Grand Covenant, therefore you are able to get in. From there, you start the long, arduous process to go fight and defeat the King of Puppets, who is the presumed cause of this. But before we do that, we have to say Geppetto. Geppetto being your character's father, your character's creator. We end up going to the shopping district, effectively, fighting our way through there until we get to a bridge where we have to fight a stalker. Who are stalkers? Stalkers are effectively hunters. They're the trained vigilantes that hand out street justice and are like smooth operators for both the workshop being the people that created puppets, and alchemists being people that gave the puppets the power through Ergo. Ergo is basically blood echoes. Ergo is like the source of power in Run. And you have the old families, basically the old powerful guard that, the old gentry. Krat itself as a city is very Victorian in look and feel, in vibe. Which is fine. Not necessarily opposed to that. That being said, as you continue down the shopping district, you fight the stalker, the Mad Donkey, who is basically desperately wondering how and why the things happen the way they happen, right? Like why the puppet frenzy. Let me explain the fucking puppet frenzy. Jesus Christ. Basically, in Krat, a couple things happen. Krat used to be a little fishing village with like a monastery that pilgrims would come to occasionally. That was built around. And then some miners discovered Ergo in a cave. What is Ergo? It is a mineral that is very powerful. It has almost mystical-like properties, and Ergo essentially became the power source for most things in the city, and it became the thing that the city was able to be technologically ahead of everyone and everywhere. Very powerful. Very mysterious. These alchemists, called the Alchemists of the Isle, came to the city to study it and learn and work with it, and by combining their knowledge of manipulating Ergo with people like Geppetto working at the workshop, they combined them together to make puppets. Smart servants that were able to be dynamic and were able to do anything that their people wanted. Now, one night, randomly, puppets just started killing their people. Killing people left and right. Wanton abandon and violence. Why do they do this? Nobody knows at this point. And because they were breaking the Grand Covenant. Holy shit. What the fuck? How is this? How can this be? Well, needless to say, the entire city went to hell. And murderous puppets roam the street, and the survivors sit quietly in their homes, trying not to make any noise or be found by murderous puppets. So the Mad Donkey Stalker wanted to know why the puppet frenzy happened. And you basically have to kill him to save your father. Your father, helps you out. He gives you an increase to your pulse cells, which are effectively Estus flats, which are effectively cerulean tears, which are effectively blood vials. Liza P definitely did take the blood vial route, didn't go the blood vial route here. They very much went the traditional Estus flats, but with an interesting mechanical difference. You can refill your if you are still in combat and you are attacking, blocking, perfect guarding, all that shit. Your pulse cells will recharge. Now, only one can be recharged at a time, right? But basically, if you run out of pulse cells during a boss fight and you're at the tail end and you perfect block a few times, eventually your pulses will refill and you'll be able to use it again and then continue refilling the thing. It rewards. It's one of those things that is good because it rewards players for playing skillfully and not getting hit. But if you need it, it's also one of the things where it's if you are consistently relying on it in the first place, you are not playing optimally or you are not learning the game properly.
Okay, where was I? I'm sorry, I had to go take a massive shit and take a break in recording. Yeah.
Regardless, we get the cells. It's a really interesting system. It's definitely one of the things that I think there's a lot of systems in this game that I personally feel would be valuable in a Soulsborne type of game, if I'm being honest. Something that FromSoft should probably incorporate, but that's just my personal opinion, and I'll put them out as we go. You then move on to City Hall. City Hall is not really that large of a zone. You just there's one shortcut to get past the deluge of enemies, and then you're on to fight the cop puppet, who has a lot of electric shocks and a lot of electric attacks. But most of his attacks, again, if the parade master, you could cheese the parade master. He was very slow. He didn't lock onto you super rigorously. The Watchman puppet, he is very much a check for you. If you are able to perfect guard him all the way through, he's not that actually bad to fight. But he's your skill check. This is your skill check for the game, and make sure you go after you beat him. You go grab a little whistle and go find the little boy earlier in the level to give him that whistle. I believe you get either an ergo or a record for giving that to them. Records. What are records? So before we get back into the journey, records in Liza P are these really, really interesting concepts. So your humanity is kind of this vaguely open, knowable sort of stat that very much is it's like your growth as a from a puppet to a person, and it very much is a one of the things that you can use to gain humanity is by listening to record tracks in at the Hotel Crop. There's basically a record player, and the records that you actually get are actually really, really good. The songs are actually excellent. Very well produced. They sound wonderful. And honestly, I'm waiting for a Liza P complete soundtrack with all of those records on them, because some of them are just amazing. I think my favorite has to be the one I think called Loss. It's wonderful. It's great. Definitely if you're chilling in the Hotel Crot, fiddling with your builds and stuff like that, it's definitely worth playing the records, because as you finish a record for the first time, your humanity increases. and it gets a giant boost in humanity, so it allows you to sort of like get endings available to you at the end of the game through growing your humanity that otherwise wouldn't be available to you. But back to the game. From here, we continue on Geppetto's ask of us to go save Vanini. Vanini being the richest man in Krot. He's actually, for as far as multi-billionaires go, Vanini's actually like a wonderfully well-rounded character. I'm not going to be going too deep into the different storylines of the characters proper, because I feel like there's a lot of richness there that you should definitely explore in the game yourself if you haven't already. But we basically go through Vanini Ironworks. It is a deluge. You can kill a mini boss in the center of it. It drops a quartz system. So after you get Geppetto saved, there's a little chair in his office that you can sit in and upgrade your power. So quartz is in a grander departure from its inspirers like Bloodborne and Dark Souls. You actually can level up your character and like augment how the movement system and the combat system works on a fundamental level. You can the quartz powers are as simple as increased pulse cell count, to being able to dodge in mid dodge. It's quite powerful shenanigans, if I will be completely honest. It can fuck your muscle memory if you try to do a repeated playthrough, but that's neither here nor there. That's what repeat playthroughs are for, of course. Yes. Next up, I want to note about the pulsar quartz system. It is a little all over the place. To unlock a new macro ability, there's a bunch of like micro things that are just like buffs to things like stagger attack. Stagger attack being, the types of attack that can make your opponent's health bars go white, so you can hit them with a major attack and be staggered. Basically, makes it so it's they're more likely to make the white bar pop up. Increase recovery of pulse cells, increase ergo collection, increase the number of consumables you can carry, and things of that nature. Like just like a bunch of like thing like is all based around attack, defense, activity, and consumables, meaning attack, defense, mobility, and consumables. It's quite verbose, and there's 6 clusters of 4 macro powers that you go up, and you need to unlock 2 at a time. And then once you hit like the third pulsar, or the third cluster, you need to unlock 3. Now it could be any of the previous ones, but when you unlock a new cluster, say you're in the first cluster of 4 and you've unlocked 3 of them, but there's still one that you still want to unlock, and you've unlocked like the 4th or 5th cluster, right? If you unlock the cluster, the macro skill in the first cluster, it'll still count towards unlocking, the next group of clustered macro skills. I know I've said a lot of words here, and I've really tried to like explain how it works. It's once you actually like physically see it for yourself, it'll make all more sense. But pulsar quartzes are basically like instant upgrades for your abilities, basically, and you get them from killing a myriad of bosses, chests, things of that nature. And you go through Vanini Ironworks. You meet Fox and Black Cat, a sibling stalker duo that was hired by Vanini to save him, and they just said, "Nah, we're not doing that. Fuck you," and they left. And then you basically find Vanini deep in the bowels of Vanini Ironworks, and then you have to go fight Fuego, the flame of the king. Interesting fight. Lots of fire, overheat damage. Overheat damage is very deadly. The only thing I think that's a little more scary than it would probably be Disruption, which is basically death. It's insta-kill. But you beat him, you keep moving through. His second, Fuego's second phase is a lot, actually.
My pro tip would be to just hug his ass when he goes into the second phase. Like, get away for when he does the change, but then, like, get right up on his ass just to make sure he's not able to shoot you from afar, because his long-range attacks are a lot faster. And he gets slower when you're hugging his ass. Moving in, we continue through the town towards the monastery. The monastery is where we're going next. We fight some puppets. We either lie to or fight a stalker late woman to let us up the lift. The Atoned is her name. I'm not going to go into detail. You can read some item descriptions about her. And you go up the lift into the monastery town proper. This is where you get your first. You see a zombie-looking thing, a blue, gray-skinned zombie. Ooh, and they're chunky. They got some heft to them. They hit hard, and they also can take a couple hits. Ugh. Well, you make your way through the town, wondering what's with these weird people, like zombie-looking people things, until you get to the bridge. Take a little detour, talk to a top-hatted alchemist, who basically says he's looking for the gold coin tree fruits, and will compensate you nicely if you find them for him. Basically, and then you go across the bridge and you see puppets fighting these zombies. You fight your way across the bridge, preferably waiting for all the puppets to get killed by the zombies. And then you are in a beautiful mountaintop cathedral. You rest, and then you continue. The top-hatted man has moved back to this position, has moved to this area, but you don't really need to talk with him that much. And you start heading down. You head out of the room to where the organ is, and you see just a thing. Go down into the pit. Well, you start heading down a ramp and through a hallway, going through the rest of the level. It's a kind of an arduous climb. One of the things that I will say is at a certain point you have to do the run jump dash. Holding down the run button and then pressing R3 to jump. And they actually made that a mechanic that you need to actually traverse the level here, which I honestly thought that was kind of nice, because I actually played through most of Dark Souls 3 without knowing that was a feature. I just didn't think there was any jumps in the game to speak of. You do that until you get to a hall. You find and you see an elevator, and it takes you up. Here you find Alejandro. Who's Alejandro? Aladuro is his name. Aladuro. Well, Aladuro is a legendary stalker. He'll also trade you very powerful weapons and amulets in exchange for the special ergo fragments that you get from beating bosses. Practically, if you're going for a strength build, the Parade Master's sword or the Holy Relic sword is definitely the way to go. If you're doing a technique build, holding out for the Twin Dragon sword, which has the best technique / dexterity scaling in the game. Moving on. You tell him to go to... He asks for a safe place. You can tell him Hotel Krat, or you can lie to him and say Vanini Ironworks. Your call. And then go back down, continue your way through, and then there's another elevator that will take you down into the cathedral library with a pool of decay. Decay is another one of the status elements. So one of the functions in this game is weapon durability. Weapon durability is something that actually needs to be managed. When you attack someone, it goes down a little bit. When you guard block without perfect blocking, it also goes down. It goes down regardless. It goes down when you block, it goes down when you perfect block. So you have to have your grindstone, which is something you get to auto restore your thing. Here's the problem. If you breaks in the middle of combat and you don't, you have to go back to Eugene, the
repair the weaponsmith back at Hotel Krat and have her repair your weapon for you. Because otherwise you're going to be doing a fraction of the damage you should be doing. Similar to Bloodborne. Anywho, regardless, the decay is a status effect that does chip damage to your health and makes it so any damage that's done to your any weapon damage is exacerbated. So like any weapon weapon durability. Weapon durability is exacerbated, which is a bit of a problem. You go to fight the Archbishop, the fallen Archbishop, and it's a interesting fight. The one thing I will say about it is that in the second phase he has an appendage that was not there in the first one that can be a bit of a nightmare to deal with. But once you get like through a quarter of his health, you can just like hug his ass, and aside from like an extra attack or two thrown into like the normal combos, it's what you've already done in phase one, and it kind of trivializes the fight on some level. The biggest problem I personally found was red attack. I haven't mentioned the red attacks. Red attacks are they're called fury attacks, and they are unavoidable. You cannot dodge them, you cannot block them, you can only perfect guard them. You have to match the timing perfectly, otherwise you're going to take a fuck off amount of damage. That is unless you're able to run out of range of the attack in the first place, but that is not easy to do. That being said, I will say that the fury attack that they use was the biggest problem for me. I was never able to effectively figure out the timing for the block for the guard on that, and that's on me. But you beat this boss and you continue down the path. You are now on your way to the Malum district. You go through the slums. You just fight your way through here. There's some good loot here and there. The bear on one of the paths is a particular pain in the ass, but you can get through it. Keep an eye out for butterflies. What are butterflies? Butterflies are basically Lies of P's equivalent of the little ground lizards in Dark Souls that you kill and they drop like good loot and shit. Basically, that's the gist of it. Essentially, what you do from this point is you continue on through the slums. You start getting taunted by some cocky people. This is the Black Rabbit Brotherhood. These will be your boss. This will be your boss. For the time being, you run across Fox and Black Cat again. They'll help you through like a fifth of like the map, and as they'll just be other fodder, but they'll like stop at a certain point. You continue all the way through. Everything loops back through Red Lobster. And then you basically, in the Red Lobster black market dealer has some of the best, has the best inventory in the game, in my opinion. Definitely worth picking up. From here you'll go in to fight the Black Rabbit Brotherhood. It's an interesting fight. You have the eldest brother who's the main health bar you have to deal with, but in intervals, like, his siblings will show up and come help. One uses a rapier, one uses a dual sword and dagger, another uses a spear. All of them are annoying and they all suck. If you decide to use a Spectre for this fight, Spectres being the things, the basically the summons that you can summon at the little pool next to you for help, you would not be blamed for doing so. This is very much the type of fight that is a colossal pain in the ass to deal with. God bless anyone trying to do a level 1 run of it. Ugh. Anywho, moving on. You beat the Black Rabbit Brotherhood. They escape. They grab the brothers. Get the brothers on their. You just do a smoke grenade and they run. You go through their hideaway. You go up the elevator, and surprise, it's the alchemist dude with the top hat again from earlier. Well, apparently through the doors is the gold coin fruit tree, which is apparently supposed to be a cure for the petrification disease. What the fuck is the petrification disease? Oh my god. So remember how earlier I told you how Ergo was doing all of this amazing shit, right? Unfortunately, it also started spreading something called ergo particles, and when inhaled can cause something called the petrification disease, which basically turns people to stone. It's unavoidable, and it's a giant plague, and it's a quarantine thing. It's awful. People are dealing with it. It's terrible, and it basically your entire body turns into stone, starting on the outside, and then your insides too, and just slowly starts creeping up your body basically until it hits your head. But by that point, you're dead anyways. Yeah, basically. And the petrification disease. So it's people are it's hand in hand. Crod is dealing with murderous puppets, also a plague. Shit's fucked, right? So basically, the gold coin fruit tree will drop gold coin fruits it refreshes one gold coin fruit to be picked every 8 to 9 basically 10 minutes, and you can pick them, and then you can sell them to Top Hatter over here for things called wish stones. Wish stones are basically earlier when you met him on the road to the monastery. He gave you a cube called a wishing cube, and basically these wish stones are one-time use and have temporary powerful effects, from things like increasing the amount of damage you would do on average, temporary increasing your stamina recovery. The most interesting things they can do are augment specters when you summon them, which can be, if you're a scrub like me, can be kind of useful. But by and large, what most people, especially tryhards, are going to do is they're probably going to use it as for the personal benefits of more health recovery, more stamina recovery, more Fable recovery. Fable being the things that allow you to use the special weapon moves and stuff. So yeah, that's basically the gist. Yeah, you can also use gold coin fruits for other things, but we'll get to that. Basically, in a nutshell, sell him fruits, he gives you wish stones. Simple as that. You open, and then surprise, surprise, you open up a doorway, and you're in Hotel Crod again. So apparently, the gold coin tree fruit, which is this legendary thing that people have been talking about for all the game at this point, has been right fucking there. Crazy, right? From here, we need to go fight the King of Puppets. This takes us to Rhoda Isabella Street, the theater district. This is supposed to be a very dangerous street with very dangerous puppets, and by and large, it is. It's fine. We go through the street. We get to a point where we have to fight a I think it's White Fox. I think basically this chick who uses a rapier. You kill her. You keep it moving. Keep it pushing. You have to go down into the sewers all the way through. You climb up in a thoroughfare. Open a shortcut, and then make your way through the last little bit of halls up towards a flaming hill with things burning on the side. Dodge to the left. There will be a fucking flaming boulder, similar to what you saw in Vanini Ironworks coming up, and a mad clown puppet at the top. I implore you, get the mad puppet to follow you down, dodge past it, and run all the way up, past, and through it, to get to the Stargazer just outside the Opera House. And make sure that you're able to activate it before it turns red, because the red mad puppet, clown puppet, will be following you, and it's just a giant pain in the ass. I personally had an awful time killing this fucker. It was terrible. And having a quicker respawn point to keep fighting it, or at least just to completely ignore it, is very valuable. But into the opera house proper. What's the deal with the opera house? Well, it is filled with disruption puppets. Remember how I said earlier how disruption is effectively, death state? It's awful. It's terrible, and I hate it. And you have these you basically need to keep out for the small little puppets when they have the little yellow strings coming up, because that means that they're empowered by disruption, and every attack they do will have disruption. You also need to keep an eye out for the spider puppets. When they sing, they give out disruption waves that are fucking terrifying. You make your way through, you unlock the shortcuts to get to the boss, and then you fight the King of Puppets. The King of Puppets boss fight is very interesting because it's this large, domineering, fluid puppet that hits like a freight train, but has some relatively telegraphed moves until you get to phase 2. Jesus God, phase 2. When you get to phase 2, it is very much a Sister Fried or Lady Maria-esque type of fight. You are dealing with a lot of overheat. You are dealing with a very fast and very dexterous puppet. The King of Puppets is it's hard. I ain't gonna lie. Your perfect guards better be on point, and you're still gonna take overheat damage. So he doesn't really give you a lot of opportunities to heal, but the King of Puppets is effectively the wall that locks you out from the second act. And once you beat him, you kind of you are onto the Lorenzo arcade. What is an arcade? Well, just for those who are unaware, an arcade in this situation is not like an 80s video game arcade. It is basically the equivalent of an indoor shopping mall of Victorian times, basically. That's what an arcade is. And it's filled with blue zombies. Or corpses. Carcasses. These are, the technical name for the blue zombies are called carcasses. And they're all wildly deformed and all. You make your way through. The only snafu I can probably think of is that there is a jester puppet in the basement that will fuck you up. And be very wary of that. It will also inflict break on you. Break is a status effect that makes it so when you use your pulse heals at any level, you'll heal for less. It's kind of annoying. But you get through that, and you get through that, and you get through the Lorenzo's arcade. Move through that, and you leave that, take left, and you take a tram to the Grand Exhibition. The Grand Exhibition was supposed to be inviting the world to Krat to see the wonders that the city has developed, which obviously was postponed indefinitely because the city went to hell. Here you discover that the alchemists might have had a solution to stop the puppet frenzy and the petrification disease. And you want to go figure it out. And apparently, as you go through, you realize that the solution in general was basically to sort of force people through, because apparently one of the Virgil, a giant famous wrestler, died of old age. His time was past, and they used ergo to bring him back to life. And you hear whispers and mention of this, and you start seeing changed humans. You start seeing humans that look kind of odd and different. And then you get to the boss fight room, and oh surprise, it's the wrestling champion of the world, and he's ready to fucking suplex you. By the way, get ready to dodge almost immediately. He lunges at you a la Malenia from Elden Ring. He will not. He is very aggressive boss. his second phase is like not that much different from his first. He'll just pursue you much more aggressively, and his combos might have like, an extra move or two you have to like be wary of when you're guarding. Also, you are dodge rolling or you are perfect guarding. This fight will consume your stamina. It's terrible. You beat him. You see Simon Manius comes to greet you. Simon Manius, the leader of the Alchemists, and the person who has sort of like started doing all this bullshit to lead everybody to hell. Essentially, what happens now is he gives you a key, saying, like all maniacal, ha ha ha, you can't stop me, blah blah blah, and fucks off. The key is to the Saint Marissa statue. Basically, this statue is effectively just the ability for you to respec your character. In fact, you can use gold coin fruits to respec, first of all. And you consume, so it adds more reasons for you to have the gold coin fruit. You can respec your quartz slots. You can respec your stats and your levels in your Legion Arms. Legion Arms. What the fuck is a Legion Arm? So, weapons don't have tricks. To replace that, we have Legion Arms. Legion Arms are basically the arm, or basically your puppety arm, and you can have them do different things. You can have a puppet arm that is a grappling hook that can like yoink enemies towards you or you towards them. You can have a flaming one that just basically is a flamethrower. You can have another one that does electric shocks, another one that's a glorified shield, another one that plates mines, and another one that's a gun. Like a literal fucking gun. And all of these Legion abilities use up Legion meat, like basically Legion. It's called Legion. And you hit, and you basically once it's empty, you have to either use a Legion flask to like refill it, or you have to go rest at a Stargazer. What's a Stargazer? Basically a bonfire. Stargazers lore-wise are like became like useful and like filled with like all kinds of utility for stalkers. Stalkers, you started using them as safe hubs because they absorb particles in the air that cause petrification disease, and they just became really useful all along. Yeah, basically. The Legion Arm is like, the Legion Arm is basically where you're gonna like get like some of your like plus utility. Like if you need like a specific damage type to like kill an enemy, you'll swap to like fire for carcasses, electricity for puppets, things of that nature. I prefer the electricity for basically everything because it'll usually like interrupt a lot of like attacks and stuff. It's very useful. So basically from here, like, you need to get to the Isles of the Alchemists. That's the goal. How do you do that? Well, Vanini says you're gonna need a thingamajig for it, because Vanini had been to the Isles of the Alchemists before, and yet we ask him. Well, you're gonna need basically a glorified battery, and the only way I know we can get a battery from is from the dump. Or the barren swamp. It's a dump. It's a fucking dump. It's a city dump. And basically, the city dump is interesting because there's a lot of really useful items here. In fact, there's two puppets of the future, the same boss that you fought in the center of Nini Ironworks. Yes, both drop quartzes, but they also do the fucking giant thing from the giants throwing the fucking spears at you from a tower thing from Dark Souls 3. So you're going to want to, like, find those guns in the top of the towers and deal with them before you fight the bosses. Because I fought the bosses with the guns being active, and it was a nightmare, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It fucking sucks. But outside of that, yes, perfectly fine. Yeah. From here, what you kind of need to go do is, like, you just go through the swamp and, fight any bosses that you get along the way. There are some, like, hidden stalker bosses that you can fight. Those are fine. You can completely skip those. It's honestly not a bit of a pain in the ass to fight them anyways. All the way until you get to a bridge that you cross, and then you basically are at the boss room. The bridge, you cross the bridge, you hit Stargazer at the other end, you go down the hill, and now you are fighting the green swamp, the swamp beast. This is a beast that has been manifested through the creation of Ergo, being present in the mine, that the Ergo mine that used to be where the swamp is, and it's basically all of the puppets and stuff in the Ergo in them have turned into this fucking monster. Am I right? So, you fight him. This is probably one of the most aggravating fights in the game. I'm not kidding. And the reason why it's aggravating is because this boss pisses Decay. Remember how I said Decay lowers your weapon durability and constantly takes chip damage at you? Yeah, this boss has it in spades. The first phase is him just like constantly digging underground, charging at you, burrowing, and hitting you with fury attacks. His second phase, he goes into the carcass of a Watchman puppet. So now you have the tendrils issues with him, the decay damage, and a modified Watchman boss moveset that is very aggressive and moving in ways that the Watchman never could. Beating it's a nightmare, but also beating it is a leads to some pretty decent loot, if I'm being honest. This is actually where you can get the best technique. It's the swamp monsters Ergo fragment is actually what you would want to use, is actually like what it would actually give you the best technique weapon in the game. But we move on from here. From here, we have successfully gotten the little battery thing we need, and we move on. It's at this point you get a call. It's at this point you get a call. You get a call through the Stargate. Just earlier in the Lorenzo arcade, Vanini had figured out how to basically do phone calls through Stargazers over Ergo waves. It's a whole thing. That apparently the Hotel Krot was attacked. Egad, the safe spot attacked. And you have to hurry back. You can't just teleport back. Shit's busted. So you end up having to teleport back to Krot Central Station. Except it's different from when you were there earlier in the game. It's no longer the low-B safe place. It's now crawling with carcasses, dangerous giant monsters, and frankly terrifying people. It's kind of fucking awful. You go the way through. You have a stalker boss at the end of it, and then you effectively leave. There's lots of decay. Bring antidotes. And you are now back on the streets outside of Central Krot. It's you fight your way through. It's a lot more difficult now. All of the puppets are infected with carcass parasites and monsters and things of that nature. And so now it's not just puppet attacks, but they also have follow-ups with tentacles. It's terrible. It's surprisingly it's now time for Parade Master Fight 2 Electric Boogaloo. He's got an advanced moveset. Oh my god, that's terrifying. He also summons ads now, which is awful. His moveset is very similar. It's not too much different. He has extra attacks woven into his normal moveset, and he'll also when you knock his ass down and he falls down to jump on you with his fury attack, he's not just gonna wait to get up. He's also gonna chase you, and he for some reason can crawl faster than you can dodge or run. Beating him, you basically beat him. It's no small issue, but you get it done. And from there, you go back to the Hotel Krot. Apparently, Aladuro, Red Fox, and Black Cat have betrayed you. Despite being all friendly, they sold you out to the alchemists and kidnapped Geppetto and took him to the Isles of the Alchemist.
everybody, you save everybody in the room, and you just keep it pushing. The owner of the hotel, the lady in the wheelchair, she basically says, "Here's how you can get to the Isles of the Alchemist. Take this hidden passageway or some shit." And you do. The relic of the Trismegius is actually not that terrible to get to the first bosses. It's I don't actually have that much of an issue with it. There's one police spot you have to murk, but that's whatever. Honestly, the thing he drops some good gear, some good loot. I mean to say, and he also opens up a shortcut for you, so that's perfectly fine. From there though, you have to fight the Black Rabbit Brotherhood again. And this time, instead of you're fighting the brother, you're fighting all three of the siblings at the same time, and all of their bullshit, and all three of them will use status effects on their weapons. The spear dude will use electric shock, which basically saps away your fable, so you can't use your special attacks. The next oldest will use fire, overheat damage and fire to basically melt your health away, and the youngest, who swarms around like a little buzzfly and is a giant pain in the ass, will utilize decay, and will hit you and may not hit you for a ton, but she will hit you a lot and get that decay stack up very fast. Again, nobody will judge you for using a Spectre. This is a bullshit fight. Everybody knows it. After you have beaten two of the siblings, the box in the center of the room will explode, and surprise, the alchemists have roided up the body of the eldest brother, and it's he will do pulse waves and stuff that you can, I think, if you time it perfectly right, you can dodge through, but no, you're better off perfect guarding it. It's better to try and kill all of the siblings before he spawns, because having to deal with the roided up version of the eldest brother and any of the siblings is a nightmare. But once you beat them, you will feel a sigh of relief that is almost orgasmic. You move on down, and you meet Aladura. And he comes clean on some personal stuff. I'm not going to spoil it. And he can basically choose to, kill him or spare him. That's on you. I'm not going to tell you anything more about, those and whatever. And then you go forward, and you basically get into a submarine, and this is the start of what is effectively Act 3. Or rather, Act 3... is, I guess technically Act 3 is, Act 3 technically starts when you, go to Krat Central Station for the first time. Anyhow, or whatever, regardless. Or when you go to the Relic of Trismegius, whatever. Point is that you're in Act 3 proper now, and you're on your way to the Isles of Alchemists. Lore stuff, things, take your time, whatever. And then you have, basically a dust approach. You are going to have to go through, basically a bombardment and multiple enemies, and then you're going to have to fight a door jockey who's a giant pain in the ass. Basically, the only way to beat this fucking boss, honestly, is to, perfect guard all of his attacks so you can crit him. He takes a fuck off amount of crit damage, by the way. A insane amount. So you are well within your rights to, just do that. But it is very much a perfect guard check before you get to the hardest area in the game. You basically keep fighting your way up. It's a giant climb to the top of a giant tower. And just when you think you've gotten to the top, you haven't. Closer to the, about past the halfway point, you will get to a point where you will, come across a black cat. And black cat will either fight you, or you can pay him off with gold coin fruit. So please, for the love of God, make sure that you have been stacking up on at least saving some gold coin fruit and not dumping them all on with stones and respecs. he'll let you pass. You keep going up, and then the person guarding Geppetto is Red Fox, and she'll let you pass. I think, and granted, they'll let you pass, I think, depending on prior choices that you've made with them. If you've been a dick to them the whole time, I think they'll just fight you. So it really just depends. Then you meet Geppetto. And you free him, and then you go off, and then you're off to the roof to fight the final boss, Manius. I'm not going to mention anything about. For those who are listening, those that I've like skipped over some NPCs and some notable things about the story. That's deliberate. I'm not mentioning any of that. From here, you go up and you fight them, and it's actually not that bad. I actually did not need to use a Spectre for this fight. I actually had to use a Spectre for a previous fight with the between like once you get to, like before you even fight Black Cat, there's a fucking borderline Melania Blade of Macula type of fight with a chick in spiky armor, but that was that was whatever. The Manius fight is interesting because it's wide moves, nothing really too fast, and a lot of AoEs, but like the AoEs are like super telegraphed. The second phase is a lot faster. You're gonna want to be dodging a lot, and you're going to want to like remembering your blood roots in that regard, because he sends like beads of disruption that will home in on your ass, and you need to dodge them, otherwise you'll instantly die. But beat him, have a little dialogue with him, he dies, it's fine, and then you're like, oh, game's over. It was not over. You have to go down the lift that he was on to the bottom, and then you see Geppetto standing in an arena. Oh no. Basically, at this point, he basically says, give me your heart. Give me your heart. Give me your heart so I can, your heart holds the memories of my dead son. Let me resurrect them and all that shit. And if you have enough humanity, if you've done enough human-like things, whether it's telling the truth or being cognizant of people's feelings or lying or listening to music, you will have the option to refuse him. If you refuse him, you get to fight the nameless puppet. This is the hardest fight in the game, and it tests all of the skills you've had up until this point. There is no Spectre. You don't get any help. It is just you and what is effectively supposed to be your equal. You beat the nameless puppet, and you get and depending on the choices you made in some previous stuff surrounding Manus and one other character, you basically get a variance of different endings. So, give 1 second. I'm going to pause the recording real quick and go eat something because I've been talking nonstop for an hour and my throat hurts. Okay, let's get technical. The things I like about the game, despite me thinking it's probably wouldn't fit with the nature of the Dark Souls-y, Bloodborne-y type of games, is the pulse cord system. I think it's a little clunky. It could have been done a little bit better, but in concept, I love it. I love the pulse cell recovery, where playing good rewards you with more health, even if you're in a position where you can't immediately get back to a Stargazer. I think that's great. One of the things I can't am a fan of weight being its own thing. I do prefer, things like stamina being the indicator of that, but there's no magicka in the game of any type of sort. So I get it. All in all, Lies of P is an excellent, excellent, excellent game. It's wonderful. Definitely something that everybody listening to this should play, especially if you love Bloodborne and you're tired of getting lied to by the media saying, oh, the Bloodborne 2 is just around the horizon. A wonderful game. I want to do more with this in due time, the IP. I'll be doing more content with it hopefully soon. Regardless, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for listening. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. And I appreciate your listenership. This has been the HIMediaTV review of Lies of P, and I thank you for listening. A big thanks to our supporters on our Discord at discord.gg/HImedia. Our subscribing server members are the reason why you get to see wonderful things like this and why I get the motivation to do them. Thank you so very much to all of our members of Winston's Court and Blinking Mudkip members. I thank all of you so very much for your support, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Another big thanks to our spiritual sponsor and and supporters broadly in Sculby's Candles. Sculby's Candles is a homegrown, woman-owned, neurodivergent-owned business run by a good friend of the show who makes illustriously, wonderfully scented candles in rustic mason jars, as well as other little goodies and doodads on her shop. Go check her out at etsy.com/Sculby'sCandles. Lastly, I want to shout out a handful of wonderful friends of the show, including Solar Sonic 21, PT Sean, Desert Dust, and as well as Don't Uwu My Owo. All of them can be found at their respective YouTube channels. Please go give them a subscribe. They deserve your love. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a wonderful rest of your day.